Here's how I use ChatGPT to take a song from start to finish throughout the mixing and mastering process. I'm going to show you guys step by step what I do and how it's helping me get through songs a lot faster than I used to be able to. All right, here's what we have here. This is a song that I recorded about 3 years ago, just a little indie rock sound that I was going for at the time. I'll play this beat for you guys and you can hear where my vocals start to come in. So you can hear how the vocals are sitting way below the actual beat and they're not cutting through the music. You can actually barely hear what I'm saying. So we really want to fix that. You heard what it sounded like with the music. Here's what it sounds like when the beat is silent.
It's like water from a soul. If you stay alive, I'll keep you forever. We won't be alone. Outside, it's getting hot out there. I'll keep you inside, where it's nice and comfortable. You feeling alright? It's been a rough day, but we made it just fine. I see the upside now.
Okay. So vocals recorded, not fully mixed, not fully mastered. We're going to fix that right now. Here's where ChatGPT comes in. I have these vocals that I've recorded, and this was the vocal chain I was using at the time that I recorded this. I already have auto-tune, Maximus, limiter, compressor, sound Goodizer, chorus, and some reverb on there. Is this the vocal chain that I would use if I was recording this song today? No, probably not. But this was 3 years ago, and I was doing the best for what I knew at the time. Again, this is where ChatGPT comes in, because we can use it and ask it to help us finish the rest of this song. So I'm going to go on ChatGPT right now, get on OpenAI's website. And essentially what I do here is just tell the machine, the artificial intelligence, what I have and what I want it to do. So I have an indie rock song that I've recorded. I recorded my vocals with a chain of auto-tune, Maximus, limiter, compressor, sound Goodizer, chorus, and reverb. Now I'm going to ask it to walk me through these steps to finalize this song through the mixing and mastering process. My vocals are too quiet for the beat. Give this song an indie rock feel on the vocals. I'm also asking it to give me tips for the feel of the song, the type of song that I'm wanting to create. This is extremely important because it will give me the effects that I need. All right, the first step that it gives us is setting levels and pan. If our vocals are too quiet, which they are, we need to increase the volume. We can do this either directly on the DAW or use a gain plugin to increase the level of our vocal track. Just going to play these vocals for you guys one more time so you can hear what they sound like and hear that they do need some work, and then what we can do to actually fix them.
You saw I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place for you where sunlight shining, you'll always have a home. When I tend to you and care for you, it's like water for my soul. If you stay alive, I'll keep you forever. We won't be alone. Outside, it's getting hot out there. I'll keep you inside where it's nice and comfortable. You feeling alright? It's been a rough day, but we made it just fine. I see the upside now. Klondike, there's not a single thing that I wouldn't do. If every morning when I wake up I look at you, you are perfect in all of your ways. Not a thing about you that I change or replace. When I wake up I look at you, you are perfect in all of your ways. Not a thing. When I wake up I look at you, you are perfect in all of your ways. Not a thing about you that I change or replace. I love you so I gave you all the space.
There we have it. The first thing that ChatGPT tells us to do here is to set the levels and panning.
So I gave you all the space you need to go. Made a place for you where sunlight shining, you'll always have a home. When I tend to you and care for you, it's like water from my soul. If you stay alive, I'll keep you forever. We won't be alone.
Now that sounds a little bit better, but as you can hear, my singing ability is actually not that great. So here's a little tip. I already have auto-tune recorded on my original vocal chain. I'm going to throw it on here again. This is the auto-tune that I like. It's just Antares Auto-Tune Pro. I'm going to go back and see. I recorded this soprano A-flat major scale. So I'm going to go here and switch this. The scale needs to be major. Key A-flat. There we go. And I found from my voice, a good retune speed is anywhere from about 6 to 11. And since we already have auto-tune on this track, we've already recorded with auto-tune on, that is, I'm going to put it at about 6 just to clean up some of those notes that I might have missed when I was originally singing this.
You saw I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place for you where sunlight shining, you'll always have a home. When I tend to you and care for you, it's like water from my soul. If you stay alive, I'll keep you forever. We won't be alone.
So that's sounding a little bit better after I've turned the volume up on my vocals and added a little bit of auto-tune. The next thing that ChatGPT wants us to do is to EQ our vocals. We may need to cut or boost certain frequencies on our vocal track to make it sit better in the mix. And here's where ChatGPT comes in handy. It tells us for the specific genre of music we're creating, in this case indie rock, we want to cut the vocals to sound natural and warm. A common approach is to cut the low frequencies below 100 hertz, so let's do that right now. We do that by going and adding a fruity parametric EQ2. And we're just going to cut everything from 100 and back. I've also added a high pass filter, which is a great way to cut out some of those lows. The way you do this is you click on the one, which is typically your low end. You right click. You go down to type, and you're going to do this high pass filter right there. Click on that, and it'll cut off some of those low frequencies and just make them roll.
You saw I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place for you where sunlight shining, you'll always have a home.
Next, we can boost the frequencies around the 200 to 500 hertz range. Now let's see how that sounds when we add that here. 200 hertz is about right here. And I wouldn't mind adding a little bit of a vocal boost right here.
And you saw I gave you all the space you need to go. Made a place for you where sunlight shining. You'll always have a home. When I tend to you and care for you, it's like water from a soul. If you stay alive, I'll keep you forever. We won't be alone.
So what I did was boosted about 320 hertz in that range. I just found where some of my frequencies sounded pretty decent and boosted those as opposed to the areas where it sounds a little more harsh. Moving on to add clarity or air to our vocals, we can slightly boost above 10 kilohertz. This confused me for a long time. I didn't know that kilohertz actually translates into hertz by the 1,000. So it's telling us to add a little bit of air on the high end of our vocals, right around here.
You saw I gave you all the space you need to go. Made a place for you where sunlight shining. You'll always have a home. When I tend to you and care for you, it's like water from a soul. If you stay alive, I'll keep you forever. We won't be alone.
Again, don't have to overdo this high-end boost. Watch how it sounds. Well, listen how it sounds when you overdo it.
And you saw I gave you all the space you need to go. Made a place for you where sunlight shining. You'll always have a home. When I tend to you and care for you, it's like water from a soul. If you stay alive, I'll keep you forever. We won't be alone.
Just a subtle boost right there. And also keep in mind, this is not my best mix to begin with. And this was not my best vocal take to begin with. So I'm working with what I have. Some of these mixes and songs that I've recorded are incredibly old, but I'm here to show you guys how we can update some of these old tracks using modern technology. Next, we have step 3, compression. And I told ChatGPT that I had a compressor on my original vocal chain, but here's how we can add even more. What compression does is it levels out the dynamics of our vocal performance. It makes the quiet parts louder and the louder parts quieter. This is especially important in indie rock where we want the vocals to be consistently audible. Common starting point is a 4-to-1 ratio, fast attack and medium release. So these things, we can do them, but for the sake of this video, I like to use presets. So what I'm going to do is ask ChatGPT, are there any FL Studio compressor presets that would come close to the indie rock effect we're looking for? Let's see what it tells us. So it's telling us that the vocal preset will work well for a variety of styles, including indie rock. Here we have it, vocal compressor. Let's see how it sounds.
You saw I gave you all the space you need to grow.
With it,
You saw I gave you all the.
now you can hear that it's too loud now because of this boost to the volume that we gave it earlier. So let's turn that down to where it's not peaking.
You saw I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place for you where sunlight shining. You'll always have a home. When I tend to you and care for you, it's like water from a soul. If you stay alive, I'll keep you forever. We won't be alone. Outside, it's getting hot out there. I'll keep you inside where it's
Sounds much, much better already. One more time. Without, you can hear much quieter. Compressor on, much louder, much more present vocals. That's exactly what we're looking for. That's very good. The next step, step 4, is effects. From what I've described to ChatGPT about our vocal chain, it knows that I've already added some effects such as auto-tune, chorus, and reverb. For an indie rock vibe, you might want to use auto-tune subtly or not at all. However, some of us are not great singers. So we're going to keep all of those things on. I am going to add a little bit more reverb just because I think it sounds good. And it's a good way to clean up some of these mixes and vocals that aren't necessarily the best sounding. So here's what I'm going to do. By the way, big tip here. If you haven't explored FL Studio a lot, here in this delay reverb category, we have something called Convolver. And in my opinion, it's much, much better than the Fruity Reverb 2. Here's why. If we go to presets, it brings up all these different types of reverbs that we can choose from. And these are meant to make your vocals sound like they're coming from one of these locations. For example, we have auditorium, under a desk, in a library, in a warehouse, in a forest, in a church, all sorts of things that we can use to make our vocal sound a little bit more realistic and give some character to them. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT for Fruity Convolver, what would the best reverb preset be for an indie rock style on my vocals? We're going to try Small Room. Let's see how this sounds.
So I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place for you where sunlight shining. You'll always have a home. When I tend to you, so I gave you all the space you need.
It's actually not adding that much of a difference to the vocal, in my opinion. So I'm just going to turn this down. For reverb and many other effects, we're going to want to sit in this 20 to 30% mix level. So I'm going to turn it down to just 20% just to be safe.
You saw I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place for you where
you can hear there in my vocals, the sibilance on them is really harsh on the sounds. So later on, we're going to need to add a de-esser, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. Next up, we have automation, but I'm going to just go ahead and skip that. We don't need any of that for this song. The next step is 6, mastering. This is the final polish on our track. Should be done with a fresh pair of ears. I'm going to give you guys a gigantic tip that I've been using. If you want to master your track really quickly, here's the way to do it. First, we are going to go here to our master track. Maximus is basically the mastering plugin on FL Studio. And this preset right here, Clear Master RMS, is basically everything that you need.
you saw I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place for you where sunlight shines.
Without,
you saw I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place for you where sunlight shining. You'll always have a home. When
again, what that does, makes the quiet parts quiet, makes the loud parts louder, gets our vocals and the sound of our overall mix hitting right at about 0 dB, and that's what we want. So last but not least, we have our basic mastering presets on there. We've done a few things to our vocals just to make them sound good. And we're going to ask ChatGPT, now that I'm done, what are some unique effects and tips we can use to give an indie rock feel to this mix? Often it'll come back with some really cool techniques. One of them is double tracking, which I'm not going to do just because I think my vocals are already really present, really loud, and kind of brash at this moment. But here's a tip that it gives me a lot of times, and that's saturation. It wants us to add some subtle saturations to the vocal track. I'm going to ask it, what are some presets we can use on FL Studio for an indie rock saturation effect? Here's a couple of the options it gives us. Fruity Fast Distributor or Distribution, not 100% sure. But let's find that. So the preset that it told us is here, Warmth.
you saw I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place for you where sunlight shining. You'll always have a home.
That's what it sounds like. I'm going to ask it, what mix level percentage should I have the pretty fast or the indie rock sound? So I've asked it, what percentage do we want to have this fruity fast distributor turned up? And it's telling us we want it at about 20 to 30%. So let's turn this down and see how it sounds.
You saw I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place for you where sunlight shining. You'll always have a home. When I tend to you and care for you, it's like water from a soul.
Liking how that sounds. So that's pretty much how I use ChatGPT to take a mix from recorded to mixed and mastered. But there are a few things that we need to still do here. One of those is EQ the rest of our mix.
You saw I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place for you where sunlight shining. You'll always have a home. When I tend to you and care for you, it's like water from a soul.
What we're doing here is looking for these parts of the mix that absolutely hurt our ears and taking them out.
You saw I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place for you where sunlight shining. You'll always have a home. When I tend to you and care for you, it's like water from a soul. If you stay alive, I'll keep you forever. We won't be alone. Outside, it's getting hot out there. Keep you inside.
You can hear how
It's nice and
jarring that sound
comfortable.
is.
You feeling alright? It's been a rough day, but we made it just fine. I see the upside now. Klondike, there's not a single thing that I wouldn't do. It's every morning when I wake up, I look at you. You are perfect in all of your ways. Not a thing about you that I change or replace. I love you so I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place.
And there we have it. The absolute last thing we need to do for these vocals is to throw on a de-esser. How we do that is go to Maximus, go over to the presets here. You can see we have de-esser narrow, de-esser split band. I won't get into the specifics here. It doesn't matter all that much. Just throw a de-esser narrow band on there, and that's probably going to take care of most of those sibilances for you. I'll play this mix for you front to back, starting now.
You saw I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place for you where sunlight shining. You'll always have a home. When I tend to you and care for you, it's like water from a soul. If you stay alive, I'll keep you forever. We won't be alone. Outside, it's getting hot out there. Keep you inside where it's nice and comfortable. You feeling alright? It's been a rough day, but we made it just fine. I see the upside now. Klondike, there's not a single thing that I wouldn't do. If every morning when I wake up, I look at you. You are perfect in all of your ways. Not a thing about you that I change or replace. I love you so I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place for you where sunlight shining. You'll always have a home. When I tend to you and care for you, it's like water from a soul. If you stay alive, I'll keep you forever. We won't be alone. Okay, I love you so I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place for you where sunlight shining. You'll always have a home. When I tend to you and care for you, it's like water from a soul. If you stay alive, I'll keep you forever. We won't be alone.
Not bad, not bad. All right, not our best mix, not the worst. Hopefully you guys learned something from this. If your vocals are really not hitting in the way you want them to, you've missed a note or two, and you can't seem to get them out, here's one last final tip I'll give you. You can actually add auto-tune to the master channel, and that might just give you what you're looking for.
You saw I gave you all the space you need to grow. Made a place for you where sunlight shining. You'll always have a home. water for my soul. If you stay alive, I'll keep you forever. We won't be alone. Outside, it's getting hot out there. I'll keep you inside where it's nice and comfortable. You feeling alright? It's been a rough day, but we made it just fine. I see the upside now. Klondike, there's not a single thing that I wouldn't do if every morning when
So that's essentially how we do it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate your viewership, and come back next time for more tips.